Hi everybody, my name is Edwin, and today I'll be talking about Ivan Petrov and his theory on classical conditioning. So let's do a brief introduction of Ivan Petrov. He is a Russian physiologist and he is very well reputed for his work on digestion in dogs. He discovered what is later called classical conditioning, where he observed that dogs salivating not only to food, but also to lab assistants' footsteps. The significance of this and later experiment is that it demonstrated how biological reflexes could be linked to physiological stimuli, forming the basis of classical conditioning. So, what is classical conditioning? A formal definition of it is that it is a learning process linking a neutral stimulus to an unconditioned stimulus. So, what are those? Um, It involves several key components. The first one is called UCS, which is unconditioned stimulus, in which a scenario that dog sees the food and a trigger response, right? And the second one is called unconditioned response, where after the dog sees the food, it has the reflex reaction to it, which is generating saliva. The third one is called conditioned stimulus, which it is initially neutral, but then it becomes associated with UCS, which is unconditioned stimulus. For example, if you ring a bell. Uh, the last one is conditioned response, where the dog learned the response to conditioned stimulus. So if in this stage the dog learned to associate food with bell, then it generates saliva. Let's now talk about acquisition, extinction, and spontaneous recovery. So, acquisition is the initial stage where natural stimulus is repeatedly repaired with unconditioned stimulus to create a conditioned response. So, example of it is that Petrov's dog learned to salivate to the bell after repeated pairing with food. Extinction process. So this stage, it's involved. This stage happened without reinforcement. The condition response diminish. So example of it is that if Petrov rang the bell repeatedly without feeding the dogs, they will eventually stop salivating. The last one is called spontaneous recovery, where a sudden reappearance of an extinguished conditioned response after a rest period. So after the extinction, if a bell is rung again days later, dogs may briefly salivate. The real-world impact of such discovery and such formation of classical conditioning is that it serves as a bedrock in behaviorism, and it inspired researchers like John B. Watson. It also has therapeutic uses where it will be where it is used to treat systematic desensitization for full bias. And it has also everyday example that we can observe is such as advertising jingle or ringtones evoking emotional responses from human. So this is it. Thank you for listening.